for joining us for our screening of Happy Clothes, a film about Patricia Fields. The film will be followed by a Q&A with the director, Michael Selditch. Michael Selditch is an award-winning executive producer, showrunner, director, and creator with extensive experience in unscripted and documentary television. Over the course of his career, he has executive produced and/or directed more than 20 television series, earning 2 Emmy Award nominations and winning the International Documentary Association Award for Best Limited Series for Architecture School on the Sundance Channel. My name is Hannah Fleisch. I've been here working with Hot Docs this summer. I'm very excited to introduce this film as a fan of fashion and film, especially in thinking about their intersections. Fashion and film are inextricably intertwined, with common surfaces, vocabulary, production, and meaning. My own introduction to thinking about these things together came from 2 sources. Roland Barthes, primarily a film theorist whose book The Fashion System introduced me to the crossover of fashion language and film form, and The Devil Wears Prada, which I encountered as a young tween and have rewatched countless times since. On the screen, clothing is sometimes thought to take a back seat, providing context for the characters, but often regarded as secondary to the film and its plot. However, there are films where clothes are undeniable, almost springing to life themselves, speaking not only to the themes of the work itself, but to the very fabric of the image on screen. They bring the film into focus and are foundational to its world building. Patricia Fields is one of the greats that shows us this. That clothing can jump out of the screen, it can be specific, emotional, intuitive, and explorational, laying the foundations of a character and a story that traverses mediums from the physical, touching cloth on the bodies of the actors, to digital, looking at the garments as a colored surface projected into our homes and our theaters. Her intuitive taste for, quote, happy clothing, what the film is named after, underwrites her timeless stamp on the project she works on, and has an ongoing effect on culture and audiences, evidenced by how many of you have come and joined us today for this film, despite a very busy calendar in Toronto film this week. Patricia Fields is at times a designer, stylist, and clothing storyteller. We can describe her role on projects in any number of ways: to assist, to advise, and in some cases to build worlds with her vision of clothing. This documentary looks at Fields' work throughout time, using this moment to draw back to her store as a cornerstone of the New York alternative scene in the 80s and 90s, and her legacy on shows like Sex and the City, Ugly Betty, and films like The Devil Wears Prada, which, just to plug, is playing right after this at 7 p.m. The film comes also at a point of reflection in Fields' life. She is beginning to be more choosy with her projects, cataloging her story in a book and the documentary we watch simultaneously while winding down her work. This also takes place to some extent during the pandemic. With her bright red hair, refreshed multiple times over the course of the film, Patricia Fields never loses energy or spunk, although she increasingly finds her choices and philosophy of clothing hard to put into words. She reflects on her relationships, her legacy, and the expansive community that still surrounds her. As a queer creative, a natural talent with a strong network of actor and director collaborators, Happy Clothes illuminates the titan of artistry, but for more details, I'll let the film speak for itself. Thank you and enjoy.